Nobody expected Meghan Markle's businesswoman era to crash this fast, not even her critics. What was hyped as a new chapter, the glossy rebrand, the luxury lifestyle products, the curated interviews, is now unraveling in real time. A flop of a show, a bizarre $9 jam that people are calling tomato paste in disguise, and an awkward Bloomberg interview that was supposed to scream CEO energy, but ended up more like how not to do PR 101. And here's the kicker, Meghan doesn't see the problem. In her world, it's not the products, not the execution, not the contradictions. Nope, it's us, the audience, the critics, the buyers who didn't buy in. And that right there is why people can't look away. Because every new move seems less like a strategy and more like a crash course in self-destruction. Before we get into the chaos, do me a quick favor. Hit like and subscribe if you're tired of being sold smoke and mirrors. Because what we're about to break down proves that this whole Duchess turned entrepreneur storyline is more illusion than empire. Let's start with the Bloomberg interview, because that's where the whole facade started showing cracks. The headline promised insight: Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, on life and business beyond the royal spotlight. Sounds legit, right? Like we're about to hear hard-won lessons from someone who fought her way into the business world, who's ready to reveal strategies, numbers, maybe even failures she overcame. Except that's not what we got. What we got was recycled fluff. The infamous dish soap story from her childhood, which she's told so many times, it's practically a bedtime story at this point. A weird tangent about pantyhose, and an overall vibe that screamed, look at me being relatable instead of, here's how I built a company. Notice what was missing. No sales figures, no concrete strategy, no talk of investors or business models, not even a hint of the real challenges of running a startup brand. When asked about sales, she dodged, and then casually dropped that her jam went from a few thousand units to 1 million. With zero context. 1 million? What? Jars shipped, labels printed, Instagram impressions? Nobody knows. And let's be honest, $9 jam that critics say tastes like glorified ketchup, that's not disruption. That's delusion, with a shipping fee. But wait, it wasn't just the interview. Meghan dropped her hero product, her With Love, Meghan show, and her Bloomberg feature all on the same day. Think about that. Any PR strategist will tell you, space out the content, build anticipation, let each moment shine. But Meghan, she jammed it all together like throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something would stick. And why? Well, some insiders say it was deliberate. A strategy to drown out the negative reviews already piling up about her show. Flood the timeline, bury the criticism, overwhelm the headlines. Except it didn't work. The show tanked. The reviews were brutal. Audiences tuned out after the first episode, and even hate watchers gave up. The jam got roasted online, and the Bloomberg interview was so awkward, people started asking if her team was asleep at the wheel. Instead of momentum, she created noise. And noise without substance is just static. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. When confronted with the failure, Meghan didn't pivot. She didn't acknowledge missteps. She didn't show a shred of humility. Instead, she dusted off her favourite storyline: victimhood. According to Meghan, people aren't rejecting her products or her PR stunts. They're rejecting a caricature created by the media. She says it's not her being criticised. It's the fake version of her. But hold on a second. If it's all fake, what about the Netflix documentary where she and Harry told their truth? What about the Oprah interview full of bombshell claims, some of which later unravelled under scrutiny? What about the court case where she had to admit she misled the press and then forgot key details, those weren't fabrications. Those were her own words, on camera, under oath, in print. And yet, we're supposed to believe none of it counts, because the real Meghan is somehow separate from the Meghan the public sees. That's not accountability. That's gaslighting. It's like watching someone crash a car, then blame the mirror for reflecting the wreck. Here's Meghan's biggest obstacle. She's obsessed with being relatable while living a life most people can't even imagine. She wants the title, Duchess of Sussex, but also wants to be the cool mum, the girl next door, the entrepreneur hustling out of Montecito. But the gap is too big to ignore. Most people don't have private chefs, stylists, and PR handlers. Most people aren't rolling out products with glossy magazine spreads while calling themselves underdogs. So when she shrugs off the question of whether her title makes her less relatable, it's insulting. Because of course it does. That's not hate, that's reality. Especially when her go-to relatable story is still the dish soap commercial from the 90s. Really? 30 years later, and that's still the centerpiece of her authenticity pitch? Meghan teased it for months. Cryptic posts, elegant jars, luxury branding. She positioned it as the hero product of her lifestyle empire. And what did buyers get? A watery spread that doesn't even meet basic labeling standards. Reviewers say it's closer to tomato sauce than fruit jam. Yes, some people bought it at first. Mostly journalists, influencers, and commentators curious enough to try it. But that's not sustainable demand. That's novelty. And when the novelty wore off, so did the sales. Which is why we've never seen real numbers. Just vague claims about scaling up to 1 million. Numbers without receipts mean nothing. Especially when the product is overpriced, underwhelming, and built on hype instead of quality. $9 for ketchup in a jar, please. Quick pause. If you're enjoying this breakdown of Meghan's businesswoman-era disaster, hit like right now. It helps more people see the truth behind the PR spin, and it tells me you want more videos like this. All right, back to the chaos. Remember when Meghan and Harry condemned social media platforms, accusing them of harming children and spreading misinformation? They even issued statements criticizing Meta and vowing to stay away from toxic online spaces. And yet, here she is, building her brand on Instagram, promoting products on the same platform she once claimed was destroying society. So, which is it? Are these platforms dangerous, or are they useful when there's money to be made? That's the pattern with Meghan. The values shift depending on the angle. She wants the gravitas of a duchess when it sells. She wants the authenticity of a startup founder when it sells. She wants the victim card when it sells. And she drops whichever narrative no longer serves her. That's not integrity. That's opportunism. One of the most telling moments in the Bloomberg interview was when Meghan was asked what she wants people to know about her. She paused, she looked thoughtful, and then she said, "I'm a real person." That's it. Not, "I've learned from mistakes." Not, "I'm still evolving." Just, "I'm real." But being real isn't enough. Real doesn't equal relatable. Real doesn't equal trustworthy. And real doesn't erase a track record of contradictions. If anything, it highlights the disconnect. Because when the real you keeps dodging accountability, people stop caring about the label. Here's the harsh truth. Meghan and Harry built their brand on the idea of telling their truth. But every time that truth is challenged, they double down with excuses. Criticism must be misogyny. Backlash must be racism. Negative reviews must be haters. It's never the content, never the strategy, never the fact that they lied. manipulated, or smeared people without apology. People remember the Oprah interview. They remember the inconsistencies in her timeline. They remember the accusations lobbed at palace staff, family members, and journalists, with zero evidence. Meghan says she was silenced, but since leaving the royals, she's spoken louder and longer than ever. This isn't about silencing, it's about refusing to take responsibility, and that's why the brand is stalling. It's not because people hate Meghan. It's not because society can't handle a successful woman. It's because audiences are tired of being sold an image that doesn't match reality. When every move feels like performance instead of authenticity, people disconnect. When every criticism is dismissed instead of considered, people lose interest. At some point, you either admit mistakes or the narrative moves on without you. And right now, Meghan's story isn't evolving. It's repeating the jam flop, the PR flop, the interview flop. They all stem from the same refusal to face the music. The irony is brutal. Meghan Markle wanted to step into the business world with authority. She wanted to be seen as an innovator, an entrepreneur, a cultural leader. But what she's delivering looks more like a vanity project propped up by titles and PR spin. And that's why it's failing. You can have all the titles, all the magazine covers, all the glossy photo shoots in the world. But if the product is bad, if the story is hollow, and if the accountability is missing, people won't buy in. Not the jam, not the show, not the persona. Meghan's businesswoman era isn't collapsing because of haters. It's collapsing because she mistook hype for substance. And in the end, hype always fades. So, what do you think? Is Meghan's brand finished, or can she still turn it around with a little honesty and humility? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more breakdowns like this, the truth behind the PR spin, the drama they don't want you to see, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Because one thing's for sure, Meghan Markle's story isn't over. But right now, it's looking less like an empire and more like a cautionary tale